and status of the implementation of the project. Honorable Justice Emeka Nwete made the order last week while delivering judgment in a Federation of Freedom of Information suit brought by Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP. The suit followed the disclosure in 2019 by the Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, that Nigeria was servicing the loan, adding that she had no explanations on the status of the project. In his judgment, Nwete agreed with SERAP that there is a reasonable course of action against the government, adding that accounting for the spending of the $460 million Chinese loan is in the interest of the public. The Emir of Kano, Alhaji Aminu Ado Bayero, has advised the President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu to establish the Ministry of Religious Affairs to promote interfaith dialogue and peaceful coexistence in the country. He made the call at the inauguration of the Interfaith Facilitators Guide, organized by Action Aid Nigeria on Friday. The Emir, represented by the district head of Nasarawa, Baba Dan Agundi, said the ministry would help promote religious tolerance and understanding among Nigerians. According to him, peace is an indispensable aspect of creatures on the planet, and there is a compelling need for it to be safeguarded. Earlier, the country director of Action Aid Nigeria, Ene Obi, said there was a need for Nigerians to uphold the virtues of interfaith dialogue towards promoting peaceful coexistence in the country. The United Kingdom is set to announce new restrictions that will most likely stop Nigerian students and other nationalities studying in the UK from bringing their families over. According to an exclusive report by The Sun UK, this move will be announced this week, which will see all master's and postgraduate students banned from bringing family over. However, the report says the ban will not apply to PhD students whose courses usually last between 3 and 5 years and are very highly skilled. This follows reports that net migration into the UK has skyrocketed to 1 million, with 20 MPs asking the Prime Minister Rishi Sunak to get a grip on the rocketing numbers. The federal government has commenced the construction of vaccine hubs in Abuja and Lagos, Kano, states for the storage of vaccines in the country. The federal government says the hubs would help to expand vaccine storage capacity at the national level in Nigeria. The Minister of Health, Dr. Osagi Ehaniri, said Nigeria needs sufficient storage space for vaccines and injection materials for efficient implementation of immunization programs. The Executive Director and Chief Executive Officer of the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Dr. Faisal Shuaib, said work has commenced on the construction of the Lagos hub, with the World Bank supporting the oversight of the process. Dr. Shuaib said funding for the Abuja and Kano hubs is provided by the Gavi Alliance within the country's health system, strengthening support. Thus, Zamfara State Command of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps says it has intercepted a truck with 70 drums of calcium chloride worth 5.9 million naira, which was taken out of the state to Kano. The commandant of the Corps, Muhammad Muazu, while briefing journalists in Gusau, said 9 suspects have been arrested and charged to Upper Sharia Court 1 for prosecution. Chong Anamel Joseph completes the story.
According to the commandant, the 70 drums of the chemical recovered from the suspects by operatives of the corps along Lalan area of Gusau Metropolis were donated to the state government by the United Nations Children Emergency Funds, UNICEF. He said it was donated through the Zamfara State Ministry of Rural Development to the State Rural Water and Sanitation Agency, RUWASA, to treat water that are being provided to the rural communities, but sadly, some elements are sabotaging the efforts in the state.
This one before they collected it, they called me that the man is trying to bribe us. Somebody came, and he was trying to give us money. I said, collect the money. Because it will not be a proof against them if we cannot tentatively say they even gave us money, we refused. Their money is here live, and we can show it. If we cannot show it, now it will be misconstrued to mean there is a negative motive towards collecting that money. As long as there is no negative motive towards collecting that money, but to prove that these people really committed this crime, it's in order.
Mauzu claimed that perpetrators of the dastardly acts had bribed operatives of the commands with 100,000 naira to allow them go with the 70 drums of the calcium chloride, which each cost 85 naira. The NSCDC operatives, however, refused and collected the money as exhibited. He vowed to decisively deal with the perpetrators of the heinous crime in Zamfara State, especially that their activities are imposing hardship to citizens, given the scarcity of water being faced in Gusau metropolis, which resulted to increase in the price of water by vendors.
Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, known for its integrity and ethical practice, also went back to the court to intimate the judge about the 3 other culprits who are at large. The judge again granted the Corps an order elongating the search periods of the suspects at large to 24th of this month, God willing. This implied that we are going to court.
However, the 9 suspects have been charged to court for prosecuting and the 3 others who are at large. Chung Anamel Joseph, Global TV News.
You are watching live telecast of PM News on Global TV, coming to you live on Star Times channel 276 from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. You can follow us across social media platforms at Global TV NG. We bring you more stories now. Nigeria's Employers Consultative Association, NECA, has expressed concern over the new Fiscal Policy Measures, PPM, and tariff amendment for 2023 scheduled to take effect from next month. The Director General of NECA, Adewale Smart Oyerendi, noted this in a circular by the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, introducing the fiscal policy measures and tax amendment with increase ranging from 20 to 100% on previously approved rates for alcoholic beverages, tobacco, wines and spirits, was not only worrisome but also a landmine for businesses in the sector. Oriende faulted the introduction of green tax, a 10% excise duty on single-use plastics, including plastic containers, frames, and bags, comes tax of 5%. He further lamented this and about 20 bills pending at the National Assembly with financial implications for businesses. The best that the government could do was not to overburden the sector or cause the relocation of many more to other crimes. He therefore called on the federal government to suspend the implementation of the fiscal policy. The United Nations has said $396 million is urgently needed to rescue a humanitarian crisis in the northeast region of Nigeria. The UN lamented that humanitarian partners would only reach about 300,000 of the 4.3 million at-risk people in need of food assistance in the northeast if nothing was urgently done to address the situation. The United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, after the launch of the Lean Season Food Security and Nutrition Crisis Multi-Sector Plan 2023, set to prevent a widespread hunger and malnutrition crisis in the northeast Nigeria from turning fully catastrophic. $396 million is urgently needed to scale up humanitarian action in Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe states. It estimated 2 million children under 5 in the 3 states are likely to face wasting this year. UN has estimated 700,000 children are at risk of severe acute malnutrition, meaning that they are 11 times more likely to die compared to well-nourished children. Leaders of the world's richest democracies have agreed to stiffen sanctions against Russia, while a draft communique to be issued after their talks in the Japanese city of Hiroshima stressed the need to reduce reliance on trade with China. The group of 7, otherwise called G7 leaders, who will be joined this weekend by Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, vows to restrict any export to Russia that could help it in its 15-month war against Ukraine. In a joint statement released on Friday, they said plans are underway to restrict Russia's revenues from trade in metals and diamonds. This includes exports of industrial machinery, tools, and other technology that Russia uses to rebuild its war machine. On China, which the G7 powers see increasingly as threats to economic security, an early draft of the final communique says they were to agree that its status as the world's second largest economy meant there was no alternative to seeking cooperation. The members of the G7, the United States, Japan, Germany, Britain, France, Canada, and Italy will use the 3-day meeting to debate strategy on a Ukraine conflict that shows no sign of easing. Myanmar's military rulers have said at least 145 people are now confirmed Dawn Mocha that made landfall last Sunday were from Rohingya minority. The junta had earlier put the death toll at 21, but local residents said at least 40 had died. The UN has stated that about 800,000 people have been affected by one of the strongest storms to hit the region this century. With winds of up to 209 kilometers per hour, Mocha, a Category 5 storm, battered the Rakhine state in central Myanmar, as well as the regions Sagaing and Migwai. Before the official statement, there were numerous reports suggesting a much higher death toll than the initial figure of 21, especially in camps where the internally displaced Rohingya live. Hundreds of homes and shelters have collapsed, while communication has been difficult in the country and people are still missing. And now to sports. A former Super Eagles defender, Ifeanyi Udozie, has warned the Nigeria Football Federation against renewing the contract of the men's national team head coach, Jose Peseiro. The Portuguese coach, 1-year contract with Federation expired on Monday. The NFF announced the appointment of Peseiro as the new coach of the Eagles May 15, 2022, replacing Austin Eguavoen, who returned to his technical director role at the Federation. The stats and figures since Peseiro took over the Eagles' job have not been impressive, raising doubts about his continuation as head coach of the 3-time Africa champions. Under the 67-year-old manager, who reportedly earns $70,000 monthly, the Eagles have only won 3 of their 8 games, losing the remaining 5, with the side scoring 15 goals and conceding in 11. It also under Peseiro that the Eagles recorded their worst run in 42 years as the 3-time Africa champions lost 4 consecutive games, including a shock 1-0 defeat to Minos and 118th ranked Guinea-Bissau in Abuja last March in a 2023 AFCON qualifier. To end our news, the main points again. A federal high court in Abuja orders government of President Muhammadu Buhari to account for spending $460 million Chinese loan. And finally, UK to ban Nigerians, others from bringing family for overseas studies. That was the news from Global TV. I am Yusuf Bua. Thank you for watching.